From the great seeking to unify his featherweight title, to Yair looking to make the division interesting again, here's why everyone is pumped for Volkanovski versus Rodriguez. It's high time that Alex settled things down in his division. His stint up at lightweight is over, at least for now, so he must set his house in order. When Volk was fighting Islam Makhachev for the 155-pound title at UFC 284 in Perth, Australia, Yair was co-headlining the event against Josh Emmett for the interim featherweight strap. The Aussie may have lost his fight, but El Pantera's win against Emmett means that there was a new problem in Volk's division. Now he'll have the chance to unify the 145-pound title and become the undisputed champion once more. Dana White recently announced that Rodriguez and Volkanovski will be headlining the International Fight Week card at UFC 290, which is going to take place on July 8, 2023 in T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas. This card is really stacked, guys, because there's another title fight in the co-main event. Brandon Moreno will be defending his gold against Alexander Pantoja, and Robert Whittaker will take on Dricus du Plessis for the #1 contender spot at middleweight. UFC 290 will also feature some of the fan favorites, like Jalen Turner, Dan Hooker, Bo Nickel, and Tresean Gore, and will be the last fight for UFC legend Robbie Lawler. Like I told you guys, this card is stacked, but all eyes will be on Yair to get the job done. You see, Volk hasn't been beaten as a featherweight since his debut in the UFC. During his 4-year reign as the champ, he has beaten Max Holloway thrice and defended the title against Brian Ortega and the Korean Zombie. Before John Jones's return, the Great was the #1 on the pound-for-pound ladder due to his consistent performances inside the octagon. But having handedly beaten legends like the Blessed and the Zombie meant that there was really no one left at 145 who could challenge him. And now, it seems that El Pantera might just be the man to make it happen. He's touted as one of the most exciting fighters on the UFC roster, and can glue the audience with his creativity and striking. The man can throw kicks, knees, and elbows from almost any angle. That's what makes him so dangerous to deal with, because you never know what he's going to hit you with. What's more is that Yair has leveled up his game significantly since the first time you saw him on The Ultimate Fighter. I mean, submitting a guy as tough as Emmett with a triangle choke off his back was just insane. He's absolutely sublime when he's inside that cage. Every strike flows effortlessly one after the other. The best part is that he makes his weird fighting style look stunning to watch. Having said that, Volkanovski won't be an easy man to lock down. He has beaten every great featherweight to walk the octagon, and done so convincingly. The reason he's been so dominant for so many years is because he has no weaknesses. The man can outstrike guys like Holloway and Jose Aldo, and has dealt with grappling phenomena such as Ortega and Makhachev. There are no holes in his game. As long as his run in the UFC has been, I can't think of any of his fights where he was boring or just running down the clock. Volk likes to take the fight to his opponents and isn't afraid of getting hit, because he can take it. If someone tries to finish him on the ground, the Aussie just shakes it off. I'm sure you guys remember how he rode through Ortega's guillotine attempt, and how he just kept punching Islam in the face when he was trying to take Alex's back. It doesn't matter how bad of a position he might be stuck in. He just finds a way to make it work in his favor somehow. That being said, Volkanovski isn't sleeping on El Pantera. He knows how dangerous the Mexican can be, and the champ is wary of his versatility inside the octagon. Yair is one of those guys who likes to keep the decision away from the judge's hands, so his ability and his drive to finish his fights make him a very real threat to the Aussie. While talking to Oscar Willis of the Mac Life, the Great admitted as much, and he also admitted Rodriguez was one of the most dangerous fighters he had ever fought. The unpredictability of the interim champ's next move, combined with that knockout power, is what sets him apart from the rest of the guys. And that's why Volk isn't taking him lightly. The man from down under reminded people that Yair looked really good against Emmett, and was very impressive against his former rival Brian Ortega too. The champ is really excited about the new challenges that the division is throwing at him, and he's always ready with a game plan. Alex revealed that he's been preparing for it ever since the match was in the works, and has identified some chinks in the Mexican's armor. Volkanovski thinks that Yair has fought more at range, and he does well there because he's good with the flashy stuff. But lately, he's been looking comfortable everywhere. That obviously is concerning for the Aussie, but knowing him, he's gonna make it work somehow. I can imagine how he's gonna integrate the skills he picked up before fighting Islam. I mean, Volk kinda out-wrestled the Dagestani machine and made him look human. So if he can employ the same techniques against Rodriguez, then it might be a whole different fight altogether. The Great has always been good with his game plans, and his fighting IQ is pretty much unmatched when it comes down to it. When you combine that with his gas tank, you've got a relentless killing machine. You guys know how tough the championship rounds are. Fighters walk in there looking completely spent, but Volkanovski is like a fresh fighter, even in round 5. The Aussie may be the betting favorite to win the fight, but a lot of people think that Rodriguez can upset him on the night. The bantamweight top contender Sean O'Malley is picking Yair to secure the win, because he thinks that the interim champ has a very similar style to his own. So Volkanovski won't be able to dominate the fight like most people are picking him to. Yair is just dangerous. He whips up those knees, kicks, and elbows that can easily slice open any opponent, and the Great will be in a similar spot. If Alex gets in too close or he isn't too careful, then the Mexican can land something that he just won't see coming. Suga knows that the Aussie is probably the best fighter in the world pound for pound, but Yair just has the X factor that can take his opponents by surprise. So O'Malley is picking the interim champ to take that undisputed title away from Volk. The Mexican's unconventional technique is what makes him so exciting to watch, and that's why even the bad guy is rooting for him. You see, Chael Sonnen posted a video on his YouTube channel comparing Yair to the Mighty Mouse. The American gangster thinks that his style is somewhat similar to Demetrius Johnson because of how he keeps finding weird angles to hit his opponents. That would have been a huge compliment on its own, but Chael went a step further and said that Rodriguez is far more unconventional and unpredictable than the Mouse. On top of that, Volk's head isn't in the game anymore. According to Sonnen, the Australian has been thinking about his loss to Islam day in, day out. It may have been a closely contested match, but the fact is that Makhachev defeated Volkanovski via unanimous decision in Alex's own backyard. That obviously stung. So the rematch against the lightweight king is all that's occupying his head right now. This distraction might just be enough for Yair to pull an upset, because things like these have happened before. So if El Pantera can somehow win, then the Aussie won't only lose his featherweight title, he'll also lose any chance of a rematch against the Dagestani champ. But it'll also open up some new avenues for the division. The 145-pound weight class is at a risk of getting stale right now. No new challengers at featherweight can beat Holloway, and the Hawaiian can't beat Volkanovski. Brian Ortega, Arnold Allen, Calvin Kattar, and even the interim champ Yair Rodriguez fell short against the Blessed. That would mean they couldn't really progress towards the title fight. Dana still got the Mexican and Josh Emmett in a match for the interim strap, just so the Great would have someone other than Max to fight, because he's already beaten his rival thrice. And no one thinks that the fourth time's gonna be the charm. Chael believes that it'll be great if El Pantera can unify that title, as it'll open up a lot of new matches in the division. Holloway's already beaten the Mexican before, so he might be able to make a run for the title again. But if that doesn't happen, then Max must start looking at other options, because all he's doing is beating up all the prospects who are coming up through the ranks, and Volkanovski's left with no real contenders. So from Yair looking to make featherweight interesting again, to the Great seeking to unify his featherweight title, this is why everyone is pumped for Volkanovski versus Rodriguez.